The title of today's session is Adoption Readiness Assessment and Delighting Customers with Results, Data and Actions through Assertive Communication. How can GE Vernova help improving processes and engaging employees while deploying new projects? To discuss this topic, we are joined by two experts from the CSM team, Customer Success Management Team, Ilaria Pecoraro and Jan Mikula. Ilaria, over to you.
Thank you very much, Magali. So good morning and good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you here today. As Magali mentioned, my name is Ilaria Pecoraro, and just like Jan, I'm part of the customer success team here at GE Vernova's manufacturing business. Today, I'd like to talk to you about one of the most powerful tools we have to guide our conversation with customers and help them move forward in their digital transformation journey with confidence, the readiness assessment. Later on, my colleague Jan will take us through a real customer example with the Papa John's case study and show us how the readiness assessment made a real difference in their success. We'll also look into how to optimize your support plan, and we'll wrap up with a Q&A. So let's begin. Now, if you've been part of the previous Coffee with an Expert, you've probably seen this slide already. It's really about how the digital transformation journey occurs here at GE Vernova. We all know that digital transformation is not just about installing a new software. That would be way too easy. Success is not only determined by the technology alone, it's determined really by the people who use it and the processes that will inevitably evolve because of it. Every digital solution changes how someone works, how an operator follows instructions, how the engineering team analyzes issues, how managers make decisions, etc. And every change workflow has ripple effects on the communication, roles, expectations, culture. A readiness assessment helps us understand whether the organization is actually prepared for those changes, for the transition, or whether we need to put additional support, resources, or enable strategies in place to make the journey smoother. Now, what is, first of all, a readiness assessment? In our case, a readiness assessment is a structured evaluation conducted by our customer success managers from the adoption services with key stakeholders across the customer's organization. It involves conversation, interviews, and of course, structured analysis of results. Through this process, we determined how ready leaders and impacted teams are to adopt the change, what risks or gaps could undermine the initiative, and what actions are required to strengthen the readiness and the sponsorship. Think about it like taking a picture of the organization before the digital journey truly begins. This picture becomes the foundation for everything else. Success plans, communication strategy, training roadmap, even the KPI framework and the actions that are recommended in order to ensure adoption takes place and stays in place. It's an assessment that really allows us to speak with credibility and set expectations early. Now, as many of you know, readiness is, well, almost never perfect, really, manufacturing. It's normal. There are usually normal challenges that most manufacturers run into. Frontline workers resisting new tools, worries that the digital solution might replace jobs. The classic, we've always done it this way, misalignment between leaders, engineering, operations, etc., and confusion about the benefits as well, for example. It doesn't mean having these challenges that the project won't succeed, but it means that we do need to manage the journey with intention. And it's the reason why the readiness assessment becomes a key part of our approach. Because through the life cycle of benchmarking, enablement, and utilization, it helps us understand whether the customer is ready and how to make the customer get ready. There are many ways to assess readiness, and the adoption customer success team here at GE Vernova is using the ProSci methodology. The core message for ProSci is simple. Technology doesn't deliver value. People using technology deliver value. And to measure where people stand, ProSci uses the ADKAR model: awareness of why the change is needed, desire to engage and support the change, knowledge about how to change, ability to apply the new skills and behavior, and reinforcement to make the change stick. So what we do is mapping the customer's current state across these 5 dimensions, which give us a clear benchmark: where they're strong, where they are not very certain, and where we have risks. And from that benchmark, we're able to design an enablement plan: communication from leadership, training for operators and supervisors, coaching for champions, KPI alignment, playbooks, etc., etc. And when the enablement is done right, we start to see utilization: the operator using the tools consistently, supervisor reinforcing behaviors, leaders tracking KPIs in real time, etc. And that's really when everything clicks. And because we can have this conversation, this confident conversation with our customers, we are able to use a proven readiness enable utilization cycle. Now, this quote from Carl Pearson, a British mathematician, is also known as Pearson laws: that which is measured improves, that which is measured and reported improves exponentially. So readiness is not only about identifying barriers, it's a starting point for a meaningful outcome definition. We help our customers define SMART goals, measurable KPIs, baselines. We run outcome workshop to align stakeholders around the results they want to achieve and not just the features they want to deploy. And from there, we can focus on tracking progress with KPI dashboards, ROI reporting and analytics, trend analysis, and of course, continuous improvement cycle. And finally, we're able to turn insights into actions through success plans, best practices, standardized process, and reinforcement strategies to sustain changes. You will see it with Papa John and how we managed to turn all of this into a plan that really made the difference for our customer. Now, another key element that we really like to emphasize with customers is that different personas need different information. And the readiness assessment is also a way to understand what sort of information these personas need. Executives care about strategic KPIs and investment decision. Managers, they want real-time KPIs and resource allocation insight. Engineers need root cause analysis, process optimization data. Operators, clear digital instructions and quality feedback loops. When we really tailor the data visualization and communication to each group's need, the adoption increases dramatically. And this personalization is possible because the readiness assessment helps us understand who the personas are, what they need, what they fear, and how they make decisions. So today, as we go through the Papa John's example and other customer and other tips, I want to keep one idea at the center of the conversation. But we delight customers with technology, but also with results, data, and actions. And all of this is enabled through assertive, evidence-based communication. The readiness assessment is really where all of this begins. And it ensures that our customers start their journey with clarity, alignment, and confidence, one of the most impactful tools that we have as customer success professionals. So thank you very much for your attention. With that, I'll hand it over to Jan to walk us through how Papa John's leveraged their readiness assessment to accelerate the adoption and achieve great outcomes. Afterwards, we'll be looking forward to your questions. Jan, over to you.
Thanks, Ilaria. So let's bring this information to life with a real-world example, Papa John's, and how the adoption process unfolded for them. Next slide, please. So Papa John's is a global brand. They are a global leader in pizza delivery, and it's the manufacturing centers they call GCQs, where dough is mixed, packaged, and shipped to stores. It's a same-day, real-time production environment, which means quality and timing are absolutely critical. They turn to us to support a digital transformation effort using MES, beginning with a two-side proof of concept to improve quality control and supply chain processes. Technically, pilot was a huge success. MES performed exactly as required, but we saw an interesting contrast between the two sides. One side embraced the solution and quickly demonstrated improvements in identifying risks and quality issues. The other side, however, struggled with the adoption. In some cases, alarms were ignored. The product still went out the door, leading to quality incidents. That contrast made something very clear. Technology alone wasn't the challenge. Change management was. With 9 more sites to deploy, Papa John asked our customer success and adoption teams to help them build a structured adoption and change management plan before scaling. Next slide, please. To build that plan, we first align on methodology. We use ProSci as our standard approach, not because it's the only option, but because many manufacturers already use it. It gives us a common language and structure with customers. With Papa John's, we began with a series of ProSci-based assessments to understand their organization readiness and gaps. Specifically, ADKAR assessment, to measure awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. A persona-based risk assessment with every group interfacing, MES. And a PCT, project change triangle, to assess foundational project health throughout the project lifecycle. This assessment gave us a baseline, and what stood out was that Papa John's was strong in desire, knowledge, and ability, especially because the pilot site had already developed good training material, but there were gaps in awareness at the front of the project and reinforcement after go live. So the strategy that followed was focused on strengthening those two areas while preserving the strengths they already had. Next slide, please. Let me walk through how we structured the adoption plan using ADKAR. With awareness, we made sure that employees not only knew what was changing, but why. We began with a facilitated outcomes workshop to define SMART goals, communicate the pain points of the current process, and highlighted expected ROI. Papa John's also created a 4-stage plan for every site assessments, readiness reviews, go-live playbooks, and hypercare and reinforcement. This gave everyone from operators to executive a clear view of the journey ahead. Desire, we assessed readiness by stakeholder group and build risk mitigation plans for each persona interacting with MES. We also identified project champions from the pilot sites, people already demonstrating strong adoption behaviors who were recognized and used as advocates. This provided early credibility and helped build buy-in across plans. Knowledge, as mentioned, Papa John's had already invested heavily in persona-based training. We refined that content into job aids, stored that in a central repository to ensure accessibility and consistency. Especially important given their high turnover at manufacturing sites. Super users from upcoming sites visited facilities already live with MES to experience the solution firsthand. This created excitement and reduced uncertainty before their own go live. Ability, we incorporated hands-on dry runs before each go live So operators practice in simulated condition one day and then use the system on the plant for the next. So confidence was already established. They also defined KPIs based on the outcomes workshop, collected baselines, and aligned continuous improvement efforts against those baselines. Structured hypercare on-site model was also introduced, including clear escalation paths and support from both Papa John's and GE Vernova teams. After go live reinforcement, we put measures in place to ensure new behaviors were sustained. Monitoring adherence, identifying where processes drifted, and realigning the teams when necessary. Papa John's placed a strong emphasis on celebrating wins, highlighting success stories publicly, and providing rewards and recognition incentives to operators. Visibility was a key motivator for ongoing adoption. Below on this slide, you can see the content that was created by our marketing and customer success team in cooperation with Papa John's. So we helped facilitating outcomes workshop, developed project messaging and communication plans. From the pilot success, we created a kickoff video that was used during the kickoff phases on site. We performed sponsor interviews if everything was going fine after go lives. We did create some posters for plant floors. Then you can see the training repository and of course the success stories. This content supported both awareness and reinforcement and kept the organization aligned throughout the rollout. Next slide, please. Another outcome of the adoption work was the creation of KPI dashboards. So we collaborated with Papa John's to build an enterprise-level dashboard for leadership. Over the time, they requested site-level dashboards for plant managers who wanted a more operational shift-level view. These dashboards gives employees real-time visibility into their production performance and help identify trend, bottlenecks, and improvement opportunities. We are still working on data validation and opportunities to weave dashboards directly into daily operations. But they already become a core part of decision-making at both the enterprise and plant levels. Next slide, please. Here's what Papa John's has achieved to date. They now have a repeatable communication and change management plan used across all 9 sites live to date, so 2 more sites to come. Training is consistent, role-based, and fully supported by job aids and repository. KPIs such as quality, yield, waste, and downtime are measured at both plant and enterprise levels. The organization has fully visibility into progress toward outcomes and return of investments. Employees understand why the project matters and are motivated by seeing tangible results and internal recognition. So the result is a strong shift in culture. Teams are embracing the solution and digital transformation is taking root across the business. Next slide, please. Finally, a brief note on how this work ties into a support structure that we have at GE Vernova. The change management services we delivered for Papa John's were enabled through the Acceleration Plan Enterprise. This plan combines technical support, education services, adoption and outcome services, and value services, where professional services team credits can be used for consulting or architecture sessions. So for customers who struggle with adoption or who want to accelerate value realization, this plan provides the structure, expertise, and resources to do exactly that. Papa John's used their plan to fund the development of KPI dashboards and to support a broader change management strategy that made their deployment successful. Maybe last note, so if you are considering similar support for your own deployment approach, or you're struggling with adoption in your organization, reach out to customer success manager of yours or account manager. we're always happy to explore how an enterprise acceleration plan can support your goals. And with that, I think we can move to questions.
Thanks, Ilaria and Jan, for this presentation. It's always interesting to know more about this phase of the project. We spend a lot of time talking about pre-purchase phase, but here we see our project is deployed successfully. So we will share the recording of this session by email, so you can replay it or share it with your colleagues. And please share your questions in the chat. We already have one question. What are your metrics for success? What is your department measuring?
Well, we're measuring several metrics at the so for the customer success team base that is more focused on health. We have metrics such as the sentiment of our customers, which is measured through Net Promoter Score surveys, for example, meetings with customers, account health reviews, etc. We do take in consideration, of course, our support, which involves understanding the time to solve cases, the number of cases open, division between the number of high, medium, and low cases, etc. And we do, of course, take in consideration several KPIs as well with adoption, which, of course, are tailored as well on the specific project itself and as well what the customer wants from us. Jan, anything we should add here?
No, I think that was a complete answer.
So another question, how customer can create their KPI dashboards?
So the, yeah, maybe I can take it on. The KPI dashboards, the custom ones are created in Operations Hub. So in Operations Hub, we can connect to Plant Applications database, or in the new versions, the GraphQL connector is available. So with widgets and custom dashboards, yeah, can be created.
Right. So also to mention that if you have more specific question, you can contact us directly through a form or send an email to our colleague Cataldo Tarantini. You can see his email in the chat and on the screen. He will be very happy to read your request and share it with the colleagues that can best answer it. So one last question. What do clients miss if they don't want to receive the help of a customer success manager?
Well, first of all, they miss me and Jan, which is a huge loss. But in general, they miss the real help of a real advocate of their interest within GE Vernova, because our role is really making sure that our customers get the best out of our software and services, that our customers have a healthy adoption and a healthy relation with the Prophecy team as well. And we're always, in general, ready to fight for them and for what is really the best for our customers. So, Jan, anything else?
No, so to receive help is the best to contact us or account manager, customer success manager. So if you need help with any sorts of related questions or issues, if you want to escalate, yeah, we are here to help you to get really the best out of our software. Yeah.
I don't see any more questions. I don't know if you have anything to add, Ilaria, Jan, to this session. No.
No, I think it's fine. Just know that we are always happy to help, and if anyone thinks of further questions, you just need to contact us, and we'll be happy to either respond to any question via email or set up follow-up meetings if needed. Okay.
And also to mention that this is our last session for this year, and we will share the schedule for next year soon. So thank you very much, Ilaria, Jan, for this presentation. Very insightful. And obviously, we wish you a joyful end of year and to see you in 2026 in the next Coffee with an Expert. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you
Bye.
very much.